Greetings people, it's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transform review. I'm really back on a roll now, I'm really getting back into this, which is, 4 months down the line, exactly what I wanted. So I'm stepping away from Generation 1 this week, but I'm taking a look at something that is Generation 1 inspired. Picked it up a couple of years ago, when the line was out. I don't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, I can't remember. I'll go into that during the review. It's another Headmaster for the Titans Return line, ladies and gentlemen. This week I'm taking a look at Titans Return Brainstorm. Right, so here's Titans Returns Brainstorm in his box. Now, I've kept the box for the simple reason being that I never got around to reviewing him, and I promised myself that once I did review him, I could throw the packaging away. So fucking yay, I'm finally getting around to this. I bought this, as you can see, for £25. I bought this at TF Nation. I think it was from Kapow, actually, and I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019. Somebody will probably fill in the comments about what actual year the Titans Return line was released. So I can't remember. I'm getting older and it's becoming an issue for me, remembering simple shit. So the Titans Return thing, obviously the gimmick everyone knows, is the Headmaster thing redone again. On the back, it shows the figure, his alt mode, and what the Titans and the Headmasters can do. There's not really a hell of a lot to say about it in this film. There's an update to the figure in terms of its overall design, which in some ways this figure does it better. In other ways, the G1 kind of did it better. I will go into more as I go into the review, but it's it's sitting in its box is very pretty, but the box is basically taking up room like all the other boxes are. It's time to get rid. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this guy out of his plastic prison, and we're going to take a look at the figure itself. Okay, so here's Titans Return Brainstorm in the most basic form that I can get him. And if you're wondering why I've done it this way, is because his forward section is a detachable accessory weapon. In terms of actually, I'm thinking to myself, this could be a fantastic Cybertronian alt mode, like sort of race car or something, if you were going to retool him into another figure. Maybe that's what they did with Blur, I don't know, but you could like sort of bring sort of things up like that or something like that. That's a Cybertronian alt mode as far as I'm concerned. How about that for fan wank? But yeah, so let's have a look at some of the things that Brainstorm comes with, and you'll see why I did it this way. Okay, so he comes with one little partner. Now, in this version, so let's just focus that a little bit. In this version, this is called Tesla, but in the original, it was Arcana. So I'm just going to refer to it as Arcana for now because it doesn't make sense to call it anything else. And he is the pilot for Brainstorm and also the part that will actually become the head in the future. Some nice little detail on that, actually, I've got to say. He also comes with one standard handheld weapon, which is a bit nondescript and a bit shit. And it also comes with this double blaster arm shield fucking cannon thing. Now, as I said, there are some things that this gets right and there's some things it gets wrong. For me, having the whole thing as a detachable section, because on the original, these were the two primary guns that would fit together underneath the nose cone. In fact, I'll do a comparison with Brainstorm, the original Brainstorm later on. Who knows? It depends how excited I'm feeling, really. So that's so that will basically let's get these out of the way. Bring this section down, and that will just basically slot in. These two sections here will slot into these top sections just here and here. So we'll do that. Connect that back in like that, and then basically to join up the alt mode, we're going to plug in these pegs and ports and all that onto this section just here. So they all slide in very, very nicely. They all connect very, very nicely. No real problems or concerns whatsoever. And that is Brainstorm right there in his alt mode. And it's a pretty fairly decent modern day update of the original, to be honest. I mean, there's not really a lot to take away from it. The transformation is different. So it's not identical to the original. I was kind of expecting it to be similar, but in some ways it's not really at all. But they still get the same effect of a completely different transformation. In fact, actually, this was retooled into Blur, wasn't it? Looking at that body, that is totally fucking Blur. I'm starting to wonder actually whether or not Blur was the idea, and then they went, oh, we'll make it Brainstorm as well. I'm not sure which one came out first. I know Blur and Brainstorm both came out in the Titans Return line. I'm just wondering actually if the body design actually was more destined for blur to begin with, because this back section here and this full section, that's too much like him. That is too much like him. Let's get fucking focus, you son of a bitch. In fact, let's zoom out just a little bit. There we are. So yeah, I mean, it keeps the same colours as the original. It doesn't try to do anything crazy or update anything too wildly. These Autobot symbols just here are painted on, I think. Yeah, they don't feel raised in any way. And you've got these stickers on the bottom here, which were factory applied, which is kind of cool. All in all, in terms of alt mode, let's give them a comparison to the original. Actually, while I'm here, seeing as I bigged up the idea, it would be a shame not to carry it through. There we go. You do that. You do that. Oh, for fuck! Yeah, Jesus, it's fucking been a while since I transformed that. That is, ow! That sounds painful. Jesus. And the Autobot sticker has come off his nose cone, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to get you to talk amongst yourselves, maybe make a cup of tea while I painstakingly try to put that back on. Yeah, do you know what? I'm not looking for miracles, quite frankly. So yeah, another fantastic fucking disaster of a review, ladies and gentlemen, from me, as you've come to expect. So that is him. That is him with the original, not sitting in any way fucking straight there at all, quite frankly. Whatever. Generation 1 Brainstorm could do with a clean, actually, but if you can ignore that for the time being, then fair play to you. So, yeah, he's very, very similar in terms of design. I didn't realise actually just how much my Generation 1 Brainstorm was in need of a cleaner, actually, how badly loose the wings were, but you know what? It's all right. So obviously there's some carryovers, like the double-pronged weapons at the front, the orange cockpit, everything like that. They lose the top fins just here, but they come into play in the robot mode, and the wings on this one here are also angleable as well. So you can put them at different angles to do what you want. The Generation 1 version is obviously a lot bulkier. This is a lot leaner, if you will. I'm not entirely sure that's to its benefit, actually. As I said, there are some things the Generation 1 did better than this one. I mean, the second one has got articulation coming out of its arse. But there's something about the bulkier nature of the robots that worked very well with the original Generation 1 Headmasters. The leaner, I've not eaten anything for 4 weeks sort of look isn't necessarily as cool as they think it is. But whatever. Whatever. So, let's bring that down. There we go. So in terms of the figure, this gun just here, I would have thought would plug somewhere onto the bottom. It really only plugs in on the side, and this is the problem by only having one weapon. You can only put it either on one side or the other. Excuse me. Which then gives him an off symmetry sort of look. He doesn't look as symmetrical as a result, which in my head is always a bit of a problem. Having said that, however, he's not shit at all. I don't exactly know what I was expecting. I was probably expecting something a little more than what I got. I'm not entirely sure 25 quid was necessarily worth the figure. Having said that, however, the figure is not a steaming pile of shit, so I'm in sort of two minds on that one. He does have a cockpit, so you open it up and you put Arcana stroke Tesla in the little hole just there, and then close the cockpit back up, and then he's got the pilot seat thing. So they carried that over from the Headmasters, which is kind of cool, I've got to say, because I always like that sort of playability value in the originals. Yeah, so in terms of the alt mode, that's about it. It's a decent, sleek update of the original design. Yeah, not a hell of a lot else I can say about it, really. So what we're going to do is we will take it to transformation, and you can see for yourself. Now, if anyone who's got a Generation 1 Brainstorm, I'm not going to bother doing that on camera because you will know the transformation. So I'll try and talk it through from this one, because on the original the legs are folded underneath and you flip the legs out like that. On this one it's all compacted in the back just here. Okay, right, so let's start by getting the fucking camera to focus. There we go. Do you know what? That is my one pet peeve that I've not managed to fucking sort out in the 15 years or whatever I've been doing this absolute shit, right? It pisses me off no end. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the cockpit. We're going to take out Arcana stroke Tesla. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this chair seat in and then close the canopy over it, just like that. Okay. Then we are going to start by unplugging the sides. He says not really convinced of his own bullshit. There we are. There we are. We're going to do that. And then we're going to bring this section out of the way, just like this. Okay. Then bring these out to the sides like this. Get those out of the way. Start separating this back section, which is now where the legs are situated. Of course, doing it is, there we go. Doing it on camera fucking helps as well, doesn't it? Then we are going to try and open up the inside panels and then stretch the leg assembly out. Okay, now this, fold that out to the side. Come on, stretch the leg assembly out like this. So bring this section, the tail fin, in on this leg, close the leg up, bring the foot down. Okay, same on this side, except that you're not worrying about the tail fin because it's only on one side. So stretch the leg out, close it up, bring down the foot. Okay, so that's basically the bottom section of this done. Jesus, I do hope some of this, at least some of this, has been in fucking shot, or at the very least in focus, because yeah, fucking great. So then we rotate these sections forward. These sections here, snap those back, and they will fit on the back of the arms. That's a bit shit, but there we are. Same on this side. Bring the whole thing down. This section here will collapse all the way nicely into the back. Bring these two assemblies up into the shoulder ports, just like that. And what you've basically got there is Brainstorm's body done. Then we take Arcana stroke Tesla and bend him over again, so he forms the head of Brainstorm. And then we're going to put him in the corresponding connecting piece just there. And there we have, ladies and gentlemen, Titan's Return Brainstorm in his robot mode. Now you can do something with the wings. You can fold them back if you want, so he doesn't look quite as awkward. Give him his little gun if you want to give him his little gun, which is a bit shit. It's a shit gun, but there we are. And then you can realistically get Brainstorm into all the poses that you would expect to get a Brainstorm in, at least the 21st century modern interpretation of that character. And you know what? The styling and everything like that, the styling and the design isn't shit. It really isn't. The thing is because I'm so used to Headmasters, as I said, having a bulkier build and everything like that for their bodies, I find the spindly aspect of them a little bit weird. Not off-putting, just a little bit. It wasn't quite what I was expecting when I bought it. I should have really had some idea, because I bought the Titan's Return hardhead before this, so I should have had some idea of what the fuck was going on. Let's take this section here off the back, and then what you do is you can plug that into his arm, and then that can be like a shield cannon thing. Yeah, I guess it works. I would have much rather been able to still take these two sections off and use these as handheld weapons if I'd wanted to, and then have that as a shield afterwards. I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure that's an update that works in its favour, because let's not forget as well, when it's plugged onto the back like this, everything is facing down. That's not the worst robot kibble I've ever seen. Let's get this fucker out. But when it's in robot mode, let's get everything out of the way, fold that back. I'm just going to do a shit robot mode for now, right? So that, and with that facing upwards, you could plug the guns back into the nose cone, okay? And at least on this version, everything It was like sort of, it's not much, but the cannons were facing out, so they look like sort of smokestacks. That's decent, like sort of weapon storage there if you weren't going to use it. With this, with them facing down, it just, and it's all molded into one piece. It just kind of feels like a bit of a waste. There's no tech specs or anything like that, with the original Headmasters. But I do appreciate the inclusion of the extra sculpted detail just here and everything like that. All in all, I'll be honest with you. All in all, Titans Return Brainstorm isn't shit. He really isn't. I just kind of wanted, especially for 25 quid. I know I bitch about price and sort of things like that, and he's got the articulation where it counts, and that's all very lovely. I just kind of wanted something a little beefier. As a proper homage to the original. But all in all, or at the very least, 2 of these, so you could attach them either side of the fucking alt mode, and then you could have dueling guns. I mean, Chrome Dome's got double guns and sort of things like that. This would not have gone against Brainstorm to have had at least 2 of these. That's all I'm saying. But make your own minds up, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you think in the comments below about this particular figure. I've been Gerald Gambarry, Wolfgang 1. This has been Titans Returns Brainstorm. Thank you very much for tuning into this review. Have I said anything of interest? Have I don't know, really. I just feel like I've sort of rambled for the last 14 and a half minutes. Have I said anything interesting? Probably not. This is one of my reviews. I mean, if you come for interesting, you've come to the wrong fucking channel. Let me tell you that much. But do tune in next week for more hilarity such as this. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and take care. And when tomorrow comes, I feel you laying by me, like you ain't got nowhere else to go.